Forensics team.
Hello everyone. Good afternoon again. I hope I'll not make you sleep. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about HaxdroiD. It's one of the projects which we were trying to work on from a long time, and finally we got a time to present it out to the large masses. When we talk about Android, which is one of the main component of HaxdroiD, we're basically looking at one of the leading mobile operating system. I don't think I need to give an introduction about what Android is or who has the major hand behind Android. We all know about it. It's maintained by Google, and partial source codes are available to general public through various media. Now, coming straight to the topic where we want to talk on, there have been numerous attempts to focus Androids towards being a security tool, a tool which can be used by security professionals for various tasks. Now, some of the common approaches which have been followed so far, I've listed them out. One of the thing which was quite active in recent days was running Backtrack, which is one of the leading penetration testing OS inside Android in a CS-rooted environment. This was sparked by Backtrack team itself in May last year when they released the ARM version of Backtrack. So that is one common approach which people follow. Now, the basic issue with that is you are running one OS which is Android, and then you are running on top of Android another OS which is your basic Linux OS. So basically you are consuming double the amount of RAM, and you are exhausting resources at a much faster rate, which effectively also works on reducing your battery and other features of your system. So another approach that came into picture was, instead of running in a CS-rooted environment, try running Backtrack in a dual boot mode. Some phones do have a capacity to go into dual boot mode, so you can run in dual boot mode. Now, as with any OS, if you're trying to run it in a different kind of a platform, you'll find issues like your kernel does not support a particular driver, so your graphics might not work. Everything else will work, but you'll not see anything on your phone screen. Or you can see everything on your phone screen, but your keyboard will not work. So those issues were there. Then came another approach towards tools like Droid Sheep. Anyone has heard about Droid Sheep or Face Sniff? Okay, I'll give you an introduction about these two tools. These are basically sniffer tools. Okay, anyone has heard about Fire Sheep? Good. So Face Sniff and Droid Sheep are Fire Sheep clones for Android. So they run on a similar kind of a principle, capturing cookies and then giving you an interface. So that was one approach. Then came another approach which was introduced in Black Hat by Zimperium, which is named as Anti, where they actually created a GUI wrapper over Metasploit and Nmap. Now, all these efforts, they are more or less individualistic. So one person is working behind a project, or one group is working behind a project. No one else is involved. The after effect of this is either the project will be very successful commercially and anyways, or it will die down very quickly. Those who have been following discussion forums like XDA developers or Modaco, they might have seen that such kind of a projects, they come in, as soon as they move in, they move out at the same pace. They have various issues like battery consumption and drivers. So now we were looking at a possible solution of overcoming this and giving Android a fair chance to be a pen tester's handset. So one of the things that we thought about was create a custom ROM of our own. We have large number of custom ROMs available in Android. Cyanogen mod, MIUI, and then you have n number of variants of these ROMs. Now, we started with developing a custom ROM. The issues that we faced were again this similar kind of an issue we had with the dual boot environment. One fine day you'll find that your phone is not working, you are not able to make calls, but everything else will work. So these kind of issues are which stopped us from working on custom ROM. Then we followed a different approach, which is to act as an integrator. Similar to what Backtrack distribution does. Backtrack does a very little amount of work on their own. They pool in all the global resources, all the tools which are developed by individuals, and just combine it, provide it in a neatly packed fashion for everyone to work on. That's the approach we are following for HaxdroiD. So, it is acting as an integrator for various tools, and as we are trying to do it on a first time basis, we'll also be releasing some documents, helps for people who have existing tools to port those tools into Android without much modification in the existing code base. Now the question comes in, Java is what is supported by Android. Most of the tools are not written in Java. They're either in Perl, Python, Ruby, PHP. These are the common languages which hackers generally prefer. Few of you might be aware about projects like scripting language for Android, which allows these facilities. We'll take it up. So, what we are trying to do out here is take cues from the existing softwares which are available, try to see if we can use the same PC-based softwares in Android with various hacks, or create our own replica of the same tool. Now we are going to refrain from creating a replica of a tool by reverse engineering, because that already involves reinventing a wheel, and all the issues that the same person has faced, we again have to face it. Another approach we had is using cross-compiling. So whatever application is available, if you have the source code, you can cross-compile it and use it on your Android device. Now, we have existing tool sets like NT is there, PaceSniff I've talked about, DroidSheet is another one. We have Shark and Shark Reader, which can be, if combined, considered as what we say, a replacement for Wireshark. So Shark actually works as a packet capture. Shark Reader allows you to read a packet. Now, we were talking about Java. Besides Java, we have support for these scripting languages in Android. Not natively, not directly available, but there are projects running which allow you to use Python, Perl, PHP, Ruby partially, or Bash script is obviously there. So now, even these projects had certain limitations. The scripting language for Android project came into picture considering that users do not have a solid background into Java programming. They are much more proficient in say PHP, Perl or Python. So let them build the tool in their own language, but give them the interfaces provided by Android. So they created some API layers which allow Python or Perl language to use the GUI elements provided by Android, or the internal elements like vibration or network access to a scripting language. Now the issue with this was, it was a project which was focused towards giving the Android resources out. It was not keeping in mind that someone might want to run the exact same script. That's where we had standalone shells. Everyone can see the prompt. This is my device. I've just logged into my phone. So what I've done here is, I've created simple shell scripts which allow you to run Python or Perl in standalone mode. How this helps? Blind Elephant is a fingerprinting scanning tool which is used to fingerprint various web applications. This is the source code for Blind Elephant. So what I've done here is, py is my replacement shell, which basically runs Python, and I've provided Python applications as parameters. So it's actually working as a Python standalone shell. Similar approach have been followed with Perl. Now in Perl's case, Perl depends a lot on various library functions. So we have created a library folder, sdcard HaxdroiD Perl. This is where we are storing cross-compiled Perl libraries, which we can use at a later stage whenever our application needs it. Okay. Now, there is another aspect in which we can work. Without recreating the whole application, we can look at smaller parts where we have a user interaction. Like an application is there which just takes an input from user and gives out a result. So we can replace small functions with their Android equivalent in SL48. Example of it would be this is a simple script which basically enumerates users from a WordPress session or WordPress website. So if you have a WordPress website, you just give its name. It will enumerate the first 10 usernames out of the WordPress script site. So now this particular script had raw input, taking input as a target URL. Then it was giving a print statement, doing a task, and then finally there was output. Now you can simply convert this script into Android compatible with GUI options by this format. So I've just included Android, import Android, which is a feature provided by SL4A. And then I've created some functions, dialog box, dialog button, input box. If someone back in the days of Visual Basic 6 might have programmed in it, would recognize the similarity between the functions I've created here. So you have familiar looking functions, one-liner function calls, which you can use. So this gives you a dialog box. Then there's an input box. There's a print statement, and the script is running.
Is Android library is part of SL4A?
Yeah. This is the same script I'm running on my phone directly. So you got a prompt. You can give a URL, and then it will start enumerating. Once it will enumerate all 10, it will give out the result. So it's a simple script that I've converted an existing script. I've just replaced 2 or 3 function calls, and I'm having a GUI based script working in Android now. So you have one name, which is admin user, which is having an ID of 1. Now we are also working on creating a catalog of existing tools. Considering the security, professions nature or dual nature, I would say, there are a large number of applications which are not there in Android market, which are either rejected or removed from Android market, which includes Droid Sheet or FaceSnip. Anti is there. You have a free version of Anti available in, paid version obviously won't be there because paid versions have an HaxdroiD module. So you have lots of limitations at Android market. So what we're trying to create out here is a cataloging software which can give you a catalog of all the security tools irrespective of it being in Android market or it being in any other available source, be it a direct link available at the author's site. This is in a similar approach to what we have Firecat, which is basically a Firefox plugin collection. Right now we are having a static list. We are trying to find a way in which we can push the updates by web-based end. So we don't have to, a user don't have to update his application on a regular basis to get idea about new tools. This is the DroidCat application. So it's simple. You can just select your area. You can select on a particular project name. You'll get a small description and you'll get a download link. So this will basically be cataloging all the softwares wherever they are available. And we're basically classifying in these many sections, which will be sniffers and recon tools, attack tools, web audit tools or Wi-Fi audit tools, utilities which can be utilized.
Do you provide signatures for downloads?
Right now I'm linking to the existing download locations. So in case it's an Android market, I'm going to go to the Android market, and if it is author's site, I'm going to redirect them to the author's website. So with a caution which is available right on top, that I've provided the collection, the usage responsibility lies with the user. Then there are some essential tools like which could be very useful for a normal operation, like terminal emulator, hacker's keyboard, connect bot or auto proxy. All those tools, we're just creating a catalog out of it. Okay. Besides DroidCat, the experiment with Perl standalone shell and Python standalone shell yield us these direct results. Now, these softwares are there which are directly workable without much of an effort from a normal user point of view, and we are able to use those tools directly, which includes Blind Elephant, UA Tester, or WebShack, or Playcost. On Perl's side, CMS Explorer, Exif Tool, even Necto, SQL Ninja. More are what we are adding in. Skipfish is one tool which we have cross-compiled successfully. HPing is also cross-compiled properly. Now, the other thing that comes in way or as a hurdle is, you have these scripts. They are too much based on command lines. So here, when you look at a PC, you have a large keyboard, you have a large screen, you have ample amount of time to carefully select the key and type your words. But when you talk about a normal phone, you have a terminal emulator where you cannot use backspace at times, or you cannot use the up key to get the previous command again. So you have lots of limitation in this case. So what we are coming up with is some custom wrappers over the existing commands. So like Blind Elephant is there, it takes n number of command inputs. So what we are trying to do is create a simple shell script which takes input from the user, supplies it to the Blind Elephant in step-by-step fashion. So user has to enter the minimal information that the user should enter. Now Pardhu will take over and will explain how we can use HaxdroiD for forensic analysis purposes.
Hi. For forensics, when we talk about HaxdroiD forensics, we are not talking about any imaging of Android SD cards or Android phone memory. We are speaking to use some tools for forensic analysis in the crime scene, or else when we don't have a machine, we can use our mobiles as a forensic machine, workstation. Where HaxdroiD forensics comes into picture is in incident response, like when we talk about a crime scene, we cannot carry our machines over there. So we can take some pictures over there using our Android mobiles, and we can use some image analyzers to analyze the images using some steganography tools, which we are thinking to add in coming days. And we can use it as a workstation. And as a file analyzer, we can pick up some specific file types like history files or else image files, and we can use some tools like Pasco and Monitor to get the details about that. And as a reporting manager, as of now we do not include any log managers, but we are thinking to add log managers as well. And some of the forensics tools which we are already implementing, recovering the deleted files from the images. Here we will pass the memory image, and then we can give the commands. We can use all the commands which are available in desktop editions of Volatility. I'm just giving the PS list where it will list all the processes running while taking the image.
I wonder, these applications that you install, the TD and test disk and all, so they can only be installed after the device is rooted, right?
Yeah, obviously.
So the subsequent question on that, is that then allowed from a forensic point of view, the reports generated by that application
No,
as a valid tool?
no. When the machine is rooted, no evidence is valid.
So it's
Why
like-
would I
Pardon?
Why would you use phone when the code is generated?
It's only for pre-crime analysis. For the
What we are generally considering here is an investigator, considering a case, an investigator is on a case on tight timelines. He don't have access to his home computer or his own forensic laptop. He still wants to do a warm-up exercise or just analyze the stuff, which he can then later again repeat the steps on his own machine. So he can use this as just a test, cursory test, find out if he has anything in his hand, like he's traveling from one place to another. He can just use his phone, get a memory dump on, download it on a phone, just analyze it and move ahead. That was the basic idea behind adding forensics into it. Right now the output comes directly on terminal shell. It will again be using a GUI wrapper, and you can have it in a file or on screen. Now the important challenges that we are facing right now is we are creating number of tools. Some we have demonstrated, some we have not. But these tools need a proper distribution media. Like we already said in the beginning, we wanted to go with a custom ROM module where we'll embed or hardcode everything inside a single ROM. But then issues like phone management or the basic feature management again come back to us, which we do not want it to take up. So we're thinking of three different models. One is a ROM manager model in which we are working on creating a simple application which will give you an update every few days about the latest softwares which we have made available in our own repository. And those softwares will be pulled from our own repositories. A proper checksum would be there, and then they'll be extracted and installed on your machine. The other way is we can distribute update zips, which is basically if you have any rooted device, you have a recovery media available which you can use. And right now, for the report generation purposes, these are just to help the forensic investigator or the person who is doing the analysis in moving ahead. So if he does not have his laptop or his desktop with him, he is on the run, he cannot have access to it for n number of hours. He is on flight, he is on train journey. He can use this and get an idea of what he is up to.
Based on that, is the laptop allowed at the scene?
Yeah.
It is?
Forensics workstations will be
Allowed. And if you take a snapshot on your cell phone, dump it in your system, the time, like for the later report, like as you said, presently you don't have it, take a snapshot, take a picture, dump it in your system for later report work. The timestamp of that particular image will be different.
That I'll have to ask Pardhu. That won't be considered.
It won't be considered.
Okay then. Anyone, any more questions?
Is it possible to run multiple applications at the same time, simultaneously?
If you're using ADB shell, yes. If you're using the GUI mode, if you're talking about Python or Perl scripts, one script at a time.
Like you have this catalog you're preparing, you will install it. At the same time, I want to scan 2 websites at the same time. For that purpose, like what happens in Android, as I know, if one activity is already in process and another activity comes, then the first one will stop.
Yeah, that's the GUI feature. So if you have it on a GUI level, if the application is a GUI application, as soon as you switch from one application to another, the other application goes into background. So you'll only have one GUI application working. But if you are working on an ADB shell, like using the Python shell or Perl shell which I've shown, you can have 3 or 4 different applications running on different shell instances. You can connect to the same device 3 or 4 times using different windows, and you can run different applications or different websites using the same application.
This shell, I can run it in the mobile.
Yeah,
ADB shell.
basically ADB is a connection bridge between your device, your phone, and your PC or laptop, whatever peripherals you have. So it just creates a bridge and connects you to it. So basically opening a kind of an SSH connection. So you can have multiple connections and you can perform multiple activities. Yeah.
I'm just a little confused. What exactly this HaxdroiD will be? Will it be an application or a distribution?
It will not exactly be a distribution, but then it will be an amalgamation of the existing tool sets as well as whatever updates or modifications we made to the existing tools.
In one tool.
In one single
Sort of a framework, right?
yeah, sort of a framework. Just like we have BT. BT has their own repositories. If you don't want to use Backtrack as your main OS, you can just include the BT repositories and you can get the Backtrack tools on a normal machine. That's perfectly possible. The similar approach, we're just providing the ROM manager or DroidCat kind of an interfaces, which will allow you to use our tools irrespective of whatever ROM or whatever features you want on your phone. So you may have the most gorgeous looking ROM on your system, still you can use our features, or you can have the most robust on and minimum RAM consuming ROM and still have our features in it. So we left the ROM selection part to the user only.
And
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and prerequisite for installing this framework or importing
Just you should have a rooted device.
rooted device.
A rooted device and preferably BusyBox installed on it, which generally is the next logical step after booting.
Yeah.
Is it possible to use Python?
Jython, they're trying to use, there is a project running on, they have certain parts of it implemented. Not the complete part, some part of it is there.
Which is still in a
Yeah.
Anant? send a catalog of all the applications. The modifications that will be doing will be on those applications or will be
No,
like,
see, we have a catalog of existing applications other than what we produce.
right.
That goes into DroidCam. Whatever we are producing, that goes into the ROM manager or the update zips which we'll be providing.
So those will be imparted like on all the applications that are there within your framework.
Yeah.
Only your framework.
Are the like investigation, forensic investigation carried out by open source tools, are they admissible in the courts as an evidence? Will the court pick them as an evidence?
Forensics, I'll have to hand over to him.
Please repeat your question.
The open source tools, if I'm doing a forensics using an open source tool, will it be admissible in the court as an evidence? Because as per I know, like they do not take open source tools. Like in case they have the proprietary tools would be taken for the evidence purpose, right?
Mostly the code submissions are done by only corporate tools, like you said, in case and other tools.
Right, right.
None of the investigator uses the open source tools. Frankly speaking.
You can't blame anyone for that.
Pardon?
You cannot reach back to the other vendors. If there is some flaw in this tool or in the report, you cannot reach out to anyone in that case.
That is standard CSE.
Even modifications can, in the tool can be there that can even manipulate the evidence as well. That kind of thing is there.
Modifications in the